Adding text on a page of your website is very easy. But what can be a little tricky is there's kind of two different ways you can add text. So if I come over here to widgets, you will see we have the text widget and we also have the heading widget. And again, it can be a little confusing as to which is the difference between the two. So a heading is whenever we have a few words of text, and again, it represents a heading. So just right here, custom shirts and more, that is a heading. So if I add the header widget, and I'll just type some text, this is the header widget. And if we go into the header settings, essentially the widget settings for the header, you will see that we can control first which version of the header we want. So this is one thing right off the bat that is different than the text. Within the design style editor of the site, we can configure the default header layouts. So essentially the size of the text, the letter spacing, the line spacing, the boldness, the font itself, the color. So all of that, it can be configured here. And then when you drag and drop the header onto the page, you can choose which version you want to use of it. So you'll see it changes size. Sometimes it's all uppercase, sometimes it's only capitalized, sometimes the boldness changes. Now, you can change the settings for that header once it's on the page. But if I change the size, the font, the boldness, and then I go back to the style editor and I decided I want to change the font style, it may not update these settings here. I've already overridden them. So once you start overriding the look of the header, it will have to be continuously manually overridden if you want it to update. So again, I could choose my font, the color, the size. The line height is the amount of space above and below. The weight is going to be the boldness. So you can see Montserrat comes in a lot of different boldnesses that you can control. Not every font does. I can choose sometimes to make it italic, sometimes to make it small caps. Choose again the letter spacing, the word spacing. Choose to put an underline, an overline, or a line through, or transform it in which I capitalize, which will make each letter of each word, the first letter of each word, capitalize. Or if I uppercase, everything becomes uppercase. Lowercase, everything becomes lowercase. Or if I do none, it'll just look the way it was when I typed it. So you can see you have a lot of controls here over the header. It is very important that you use the right headers in the right places. Headers are also used from an SEO standpoint. At the very top of the page, the first header should be an H1 header. So it should be header 1. And then you want to be adding an H2. So this would be my H1, this would be an H2. And then farther down the page, I'm probably going to have some H3s and so forth. You don't want to have multiple H1s on the same page. I don't pretend to be an SEO expert, but just know that you can be penalized by a search engine for not using headers correctly. Now when it comes to text, so we'll come back to widgets, we'll add some text here. So I might write, this is the text widget. And again, this is typically not just a few words. This is typically a sentence or two, or maybe even a paragraph. Now, again, it's edited differently than a header. It has some different capabilities that you can't do within a header. So like the header, I can control the font. I can control the size. I don't have as much flexibility, but I have some. I can control the color. I can control the line height. I don't have as much flexibility as the header, but again, I still have some. I can choose if I want it to be bold or not. Same thing. It's not as controllable, but it is possible. I can control if I want it aligned left, center, right, or actually justified. And you can't do all of this with a header. You can do left, center, right, but you can't justify it. Justifying the text makes it spaced so that it goes edge to edge. It's essentially what a newspaper does. So you can see I don't have the same controls as far as bolding, size of text, line spacing, letter spacing. Don't have all that control, but I can justify the text. I have more control over making it go left to center to right when I go on smaller devices. I can embed links in the middle of it. So if I wanted to make this widget text a link, I can. So we're going to actually go into the text settings, and I'll just highlight this text. I can embed a link, and right here I can choose where I want that link to go to. I can do that with the header, but the whole thing would be the link. Another thing I can do individually is color a word. So if I want to break it out from the rest and highlight it, I can. I cannot do that with a header. All of the colors would be together. Everything from background to advanced is essentially almost identical. Just like all widgets, background to advanced is almost always the same. It's always the first one or two settings within that widget that is unique to what all is going on with that widget, in this case adding text. The text widget itself is also kind of a style within the style editor as well. So right here you can see the text that is used is formatted right here. So if I wanted the default text to be a different size or font, it's very easy, and I still can override it once I've added the widget to the page. If you have any questions on how to add text using the text or the header widget, come up to the very top of the page where you can search our many great help articles, or come over to the question mark where you can raise a support ticket with client services who is there to answer questions and help you work through problems whenever you have them. Hopefully you find this video helpful, and thank you for watching.